Now, I would like to talk about just a little bit about there were guys that I could have been with, could have had relationships with, mostly, well, in Chicago. I'm going to talk about being in college in just a little bit here. There wasn't anybody there. There were a good number of gay men, closeted, all of them. We were in a small town in South Dakota. I went there, well, that's another story. Anyway, there was one man in particular from a show, and he made it known, and I liked him, and he was a good actor, but he came after the first one. I didn't fall in love with either of these two men in Chicago. I didn't let myself. There was a guy before the one I'm talking about that I was in the show with. I don't want to mention names and then the one guy, the one I was in the show, I can't remember his name. He was a lead in the show and he was really good. But I just, anyway, this other guy, he was an actor too, but incredibly good looking, and he let me know he was interested. Now, I don't know for sure that he was offering relationship. He seemed to be offering sex. We just didn't seem to be able to get together. We were both closeted and really careful about that. And he was so good looking, and he was so far ahead of me financially. I didn't go there, but I believe he had a house in the suburbs. I think that's what he told me. And I saw him pretty regularly. And I don't want to tell you how. I don't know. He could be dead by now. He could be still closeted. I don't want to do any damage. But it seems to me we kind of left it that we were going to meet up at a place, at a restaurant, and I don't quite remember where it was. But we were going to, and it was very open-ended. We were too closeted to say, okay, let's do this, let's date. At least I was, and well, he was just as oblique about it as I was, so he must have been too. So, but anyway, I decided not to go because he was so much better looking than I was, and he was so far ahead of me financially. He owned or had a house. I believe he owned it. Well, was, I'm sure, paying on it. A mortgage, something that I never came close to. So, and I wanted a career. And I just felt that if I went with him, if things got dicey, he would expect me to pay my fair share, and I would want to pay my fair share. And then there were times when I hardly had any money at all and just barely made it by. But I had shows almost always. So, and they weren't little non-piddly paying shows where I made next to nothing, but I was happy, and that's what I was going to have. That's what my career was going to be. So, and I made my peace with that I was always going to be poor and not have a great career, but I was going to have the shows. And so anyway, I didn't meet him or anything like that. And when this other guy who I was in a show with and really got to know well and admire, I just decided, well, I've already made that decision, and he's poor too, but he's younger than I am, and so, anyway, there was one other guy. We had classes together, and I liked him, and he was out, and I was passing myself off as straight very actively in the class. Not obnoxiously, I don't think, but I did a scene from Boys in the Band, and I did it wrong because I was so concerned about not being thought of being gay, and I played it was the part I was playing was the one character who is not gay in the show, but there were all kinds of things. But anyway, he was in the class with me, and I was attracted to him, but closeted, and I don't remember if he had a boyfriend or something. I don't know, and but like a year or so later, I was on the L platform going home, and it was nighttime, and the platforms had lights on, and I looked across, and he got annoyed with me for being closeted and making very subtle plays for him and annoying him. So he made it clear that I should stop that, and I did. But then like a year or so later, I was on the platform, and on the platform going the opposite way, or maybe we were at Belmont, and I was on the red line, and this person was on the brown line, and it was on the brown line, and I think that's what it was. And I looked over, and there was this gorgeous shirt. It was a flowery, not that something you'd wear now, but that was in back then, and it was really cool looking. And I was just watching this shirt, and then I looked up, and it was him. And I'd been staring at him, at the shirt, but at him for like, I don't know, 2 minutes. And the look on his face was like, you closeted turd. But I didn't see him. I saw the stupid shirt, which is out of style now. Like me. Oh well.